Hey Virgs, welcome to Vivid Vibration. I hope the all are doing well. Virgs. We have the Desert and the Venom, the Sustainer and the Queen, and the Animal, the Crone, and the Shaman. Virgs. Well, I mean, the Venom is just the idea of like nasty, 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 nasty. You know, and I feel like you are in an environment that just spews a lot of nasty, you know? I don't know. I think of my in-laws, honestly. They were just always like, they would just sit and talk about how they would want to like physically harm people all of the time. You know what I mean? A bunch of fucking roughneck men. And you know, just like, it's like anything that you hear coming out of their mouths is just like anger and you know, like it's just like there was no like logical conversation or, you know, just like trying to gain understanding. It was just anger and violence. And I don't know, maybe you are in an environment where you were around people who are just angry, and even if they're not physically violent, they just spew like a violent energy. And I think I feel like you feel a little bit like, why is this? Why? You know, if it's a work environment and you're dealing with a coworker who's just, you know, like a misery monger and a petty Polly or something, you know what I mean? And you're just like, why? You know, I don't know. I just feel like there are people in your life who it's almost like they can't do anything but be upset. They can't do anything but like have a reason to complain. And if it's just somebody like, or, you know, like somebody who plays like the victim all the time and they like roll around in the victim mentality, you know what I mean? And you're just like, you like, I feel like you kind of, there's almost that sense of like, maybe these are people who you thought you were going to really help, you know what I mean? And then you were just kind of like, oh my God, these people cannot be helped. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know that that was a thing until I learned that was a thing. You know what I mean? But I feel like y'all are just in that stage of the process, you know? And having to really let it go, because you can't hold on to that. That is not healthy. It is not okay. You know, like you don't want to be around people who are angry all the time. You don't want to be around people who are miserable just for the sake of being miserable because it gives them something to talk about. You don't want to be around people who play victim all of the time. Like, seriously, you know what I mean? And you got to let those people go, because I think that you're understanding, you know, if sometimes I think sometimes the only lesson it is that we are learning, and it's an important lesson and one that you would think that we would have down, but in all reality, it's not one that is actually really perpetuated in society. And, you know, like boundaries are not things that people honor. You hear, you know, in communities where they're like about personal growth and development, the idea of boundaries. But most people do not honor boundaries, you know? And it's gross, the level of like disrespect like for themselves, you know, because I don't know, I just think of this. I won't share that. That's not okay. I don't know. You know, it's just, there are people who will cross boundaries and then they will turn around and accuse other people of crossing their boundaries. You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't even have a concept of what boundaries are. And I'm not really sure what the fuck you're talking about. You know what I mean? Because healthy boundaries allow for everyone to have a safe space. And if there's not if there are people who refuse to create a safe space, and then they accuse other people, well, you made my safe not space, my safe not space, sorry, dyslexia, my space unsafe. And you just looking at them like, what are you talking about? The only thing I've done is prevent you from allowing your nasty energy into my space. That's not me dishonoring your boundaries. That's me protecting myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what that feels like. And part of that, I think, for some of you has just been letting someone go, letting something go. Because the only way you're going to move forward is if you, and again, it's been that idea of like feeling like every time you step into a room, you're going to step on somebody, and like them being mad at you and you being like, well, the only way that I can keep everyone safe is if I hold this boundary and I don't step in that room, because otherwise I'm going to step on every single one of you bitches. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's not even going to be, you know, like, it's just like a natural state of existence. A giant is a giant is a giant, and you don't stick it in a room full of tiny ass people. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter, because if they take a step, somebody's going down. You know what I mean? And I just feel like this, people can be mad at you and being like, well, you keep us out. And it's like, well, because if I step in there, I must step on you. Duh. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't because I'm hating everybody. This is because I'm acknowledging a very big difference between myself and those people. Do you know what I mean? And that's a healthy boundary. And you can try and blur those lines till kingdom come, but it ain't going to make any sense to anybody other than you, you know, and the rest of your small little people. And just knowing that what it is that you're loyal to is something that offers you a sense of sustainability, right? Something that allows you to really not have to be forced to hold those boundaries. You know, like, it shouldn't be my job to protect every single person's emotions and feelings. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to try and like throw you in a bathtub of water and watch you grow. Like, that's not a thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to do this with these people, right? I'm here to embody my gifts and do that around people who are comfortable with greatness. You know what I mean? And Virgos, good for you. And I don't know, I feel like, you know, the Queen is this idea of influence. And I kind of feel like you have a lot of influence, Virgs. You step into a room and you have a presence. And so people are drawn to that. But just because they're drawn to your presence does not make you responsible for them. Again, a giant is a giant is a giant. And the little people are the little people are the little people. And they're not going to grow up to be giants someday. You know what I mean? And it's not your job to keep yourself small so that you don't step on them. Virgs. Knight of Wands. Two cards. The Knight of Wands and the Queen of Wands. And the Queen twice. Love that. But again, I just feel like there's like this opportunity, this call to action, this, hey, come stand in a room full of giants. Yes. Do that. Do that. I'm excited for that for you, because yes. Okay. The Seven of Wands, the Four of Wands, the Six of Wands, the Seven of Cups, life renewed, the Four of Cups, the Eight of Cups. Yeah, because it's just kind of like you've just been isolated. You've been missing out. You've been stuck behind this boundary to keep everyone safe, but like villainized for it somehow. And you know what I mean? It's just kind of like this, like, oh, like, get me out of here. This house is burning down, right? Like, I have to go. Life renewed. It's no more thinking about what you want. It's time to go. It's time to really step into that room that you belong in, where you don't have to constantly worry that you're stepping on somebody. And I know people are like, oh, that's heartless. Oh, you don't really care. And it's like, again, when you are in a hero villain role with people, because you have a presence about you that people are drawn to, and so just because they're drawn to you, they immediately, think that they have ownership of over you. And that's like the furthest thing from the truth, right? Other people's obsessions are not your issue. Don't let them, because I feel like this, almost like a sense of guilt maybe that you felt like, well, I have a responsibility to them. No, you don't. You absolutely do not. Scratch that one, throw it in the trash. The Moon and the Wheel of Fortune. Yes, I love this because part of that boundary is that you're not allowed to like tap into that intuition, right, Virgs? It's been in your reads for a while, just this idea of like how intimidating you are to people, and how you feel like your gift of sight, like people are like, how dare you have, that much awareness about me, and you know what I mean? And it's like, well, you're real easy to read. You know what I mean? And Virgos, people are so easy for you to read, and you can read whether or not they have the spirit of a giant or the spirit of a small little person. You know what I mean? And it's not your job to play savior to them. Those are not your people. And you're going to be able to really start trusting in that I just feel like that spiritual knowing that you embody. Like, put that shit to use, yo. Okay. Don't waste it on people who make you feel like everywhere you look, you're seeing demons. Like, it's not your job to battle other people's demons. That is not your problem. The comic. And you're smart enough to know it. You're brilliant enough to realize, not my monkey, not my circus. Right? And you're not even a character who belongs in the circus. You know what I mean? You're bigger than that. You're stronger than that. You're not there for entertainment for the masses. You know what I mean? You're there to like impact change in a real way, because you have insight that others don't. And you should love that about yourself and be proud about that, and don't waste such a beautiful gift, because the masses want to control it because they don't have it. And people who don't have those gifts envy them, and then they want to put you in your place and keep you down and make you out to be the villain, just because they're afraid, because they're cowards, because they're small. You know what I mean? And fuck those people. Virgos. I love you. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Please give me a like, share, and subscribe if this video does resonate, and I will see you all again soon.